There's a new villain coming to Madison Square Garden, and his government name is Cade Cunningham. Our New York Post sports columnist Mike Vaccaro has seen it all when it comes to great players taking down the Knicks. Is Cade Cunningham the next in line? Mike, thanks for hopping on with us now. You've covered the Knicks for a while now. Before we even start talking about Cade, who's your all-time playoff villain at the Garden?
Well, look, Reggie Miller is the villain because he's the first guy who really inspired the Garden to go insane. Frankly, I mean, every time he launched a three, it always seemed to come at a killer time, and he made it at a killer time. Look, before him, there was Michael Jordan, and I think Michael Jordan probably broke more Garden hearts than anybody who's ever lived. But there was almost a reverence when he did it. It was almost like Knicks fans understood that they were in the presence of greatness, and they didn't want to react too crazily. But Reggie drove them nuts, and then there was a procession of guys: Reggie and Tim Hardaway. Later on, Trae Young. Last year, Joel Embiid. But really, Reggie is the guy that's the gold standard because he not only delivered, but he made Knicks fans just crazy and turned the Garden into his own personal playground, even though he wasn't there at all welcome there. And in fact, even last year when he was announcing during the playoffs,
Yep.
they reminded him how unwelcome he is there.
Yep, Josh Hart had that moment where he walked over and kind of cursed on live
Yep.
broadcast. But, I mean, you've talked about and seen the Jordans, the Millers, even Trae Young, when he's come to the Garden, he was a villain. Cade Cunningham has the stat line to show that he could be that next guy at the Garden in this series. So if you're a Knicks fan, should you be worried?
Well, you definitely want to be worried when you have a player that good. He's going to be on one of the three All NBA teams when they're announced shortly. So will Jalen Brunson. But Cunningham has that kind of game that New Yorkers can secretly covet because it's really very much of a playground game. I mean, he loves to get up and down the floor. He loves to dish the ball. He can shoot it. He shot over 50% against the Knicks from 3-point range this year. Just a fabulous player. But he's the if there's one matchup that you're going to give the Pistons, it's probably going to be that one, and not by a lot because Brunson is obviously a terrific player in his own right. But look, I mean, when a guy is that good, he can do a lot of terrible things to you if you're not ready to prepare against the other guys. And look, he can score 50 points in every game this series, but that alone isn't going to beat the Knicks. The Knicks have to be able to kind of maintain against the other guys against whom just about everybody would get the check mark in a matchup, I think.
Yeah, let's go in a little deeper on the other guys. Do you feel like the Pistons have enough of a supporting cast on this roster to make this an uncomfortable series, or I hate to say it, even beat the Knicks?
Well, they have great three-point shooting between Cunningham, Beasley, and Tim Hardaway
Yeah.
Jr. And the Knicks have had a problem this year being consistent with guarding the three, so that's obviously something to look out for. And look, I mean, the Pistons revel in being the tough guys in the NBA now, the tough kids, the new kids on the block with a chip on their shoulders. Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart both are physical guys. I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them or both of them try and make a statement with an elbow or a shoulder early in game one and to see how the Knicks react to that. And, they talked about it all week. They have to be disciplined. They have to be true to themselves. I think especially Karl Anthony Towns, who has a propensity sometimes to pick up silly fouls, has to avoid that because the Knicks need him on the floor. The Knicks are going to be it's ironic because I think a lot of people were worried about the starters getting too many minutes this year. But look, the Knicks are going to be at their best in this series for sure when their five starters are all playing together because we've seen what a high level they can play at when they're playing good ball. Cat has to stay on the floor, and that means not getting entangled in any of the craziness. And look, it's an emotional game. The games of the Garden are going to be especially highly charged. It's on the Knicks to keep their heads because you just got a feeling that the Pistons are going to try and deliver a message early in the series, if not early in game one.
So fill in the blank. Knicks in.
Look, I'm picking them in five. I get it. They lost 3 out of 4 to the Pistons this year. They weren't full strength in any of those games. And look, I think that the Pistons have been a remarkable story this year, probably the story of the year in the NBA. They tripled their win total from last year, and they're coming, but they haven't arrived yet. And when you match them up, position by position, and even including the coach, and We saw what Thibodeau did to J.B. Bickerstaff 2 years ago when Bickerstaff was in Cleveland. Totally outcoached him. I don't expect anything different in this series. And I think that once you get past the Brunson Cunningham matchup, the Knicks get the check mark for just about all the other one-on-ones. And look, if Brunson's going to be the one guy you have to worry about in a series, my worries are going to be kind of limited. So I think the Knicks will survive the series. It's not going to be easy. I think it'll be, if they win the 4 games, maybe those 4 wins will come by a total of 15 points. But remember with the first round last year, yeah. Knicks and the Sixers, they only won 6 games, but it was only the Knicks by 1 point spread out over those 6 games. So I don't expect it to be that competitive as the Sixers series was last year, but they're going to be hard-fought games. I just think the Knicks have too much at this point in their respective timelines.
All right, Mike, thanks for your time, and enjoy that garden-like atmosphere on Saturday.
You got it, Brandon. Good talking to you.